Blog Talk Radio and stuff like that, it's a little bit different. You really have to, kind of be in a more of a radio format where you need to be in a 30-minute, 45-minute, hour sort of thing. So keep that in mind. But, another thing to mention as far as the format of your show is concerned, make sure that you're absolutely constant on the release of your episodes. If you're going to be doing it on every Monday, if you're going to be doing it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, once a week, release it at the same time and release it always, always, always. There's some options in Feed for All to do delayed releasing of your RSS and stuff like that. Just make sure that you absolutely can uphold whatever you're going to do for your people, because they're going to look for that new episode. They're going to look for that new content. They're going to be, checking your site when your episodes come up and stuff like that. Don't dedicate yourself to anything that you cannot do. Changing is absolutely your death wish as far as a podcast is concerned. I can tell you right now that starting this show here, I started on a free service, and I moved my feed. Just moving my feed absolutely tanked my subscriberships that I had. I absolutely had to completely start over again, and I had to get everybody that was on my old feed over to my new feed. It's a big total mess. It is a lot easier to just roll this thing out and think about your expandability and your options and stuff like that ahead of time, because I can tell you right now, switching sites is another thing I did. I moved from Blogger onto a hosted website, and I can tell you right now that, guys, it was just a total miserable situation. Getting people to move over to your new content, to your new site, to your new feed is just a lot more painful than it is to start off stumbling a little bit in the technology to catch up eventually and be able to be okay. Because, it just really is a painful situation when you need to transition everybody over to new information. It's a lot easier to think these things out. How long is the episode? How frequent is the episode? What's the content of my episode? Who am I trying to target on this episode? What are we going to be talking about? What's my mission in this podcast? It's a lot better to think these things out and then roll it out than to try to do things midstream, because you're going to end up losing people, you're going to be losing interest, and it's not going to make you look very polished. So that really does help you to understand exactly where you're going to be coming from as far as the show is concerned. Now, here's another thing that I can tell you. Absolutely and completely love your people. Don't release a podcast to reach a people without having the capacity to love them. Right now, guys, this podcast is really about you guys. It's really, the podcast came from an episode that I heard from Jack Spirko that said, follow your passion. And I followed my passion, and my passion was getting the word out to other people to help them to get in a self-sufficient and sustainable environment and be able to make a closed-loop system, because I really believe in that. I really believe that there's power in getting self-sufficiency back in your life. I really believe that the skills are something that are being lost, and we need to reacquire them to be able to find freedom in our lives. I really do believe that there is value in getting food back into our lives that's actually nutritious and is not killing us. I really believe that, going back to herbal medicine and these sort of things is the better way to go. I really believe in this thing. And more than that, I believe in helping other people get there. My passion that so many people talk about is really because I love you guys. I really care for you guys. I go over and above. I don't work a single day doing this podcast because I love helping people. I love teaching. I love reaching out. I love doing whatever I can to make other people successful. It's really what I'm about and who I am. And that's who you have to be. You have to allow yourself to be who you are, good, bad, ugly, because there's going to be some people that don't like you, and there's some people that are going to like you, and the people that like you are the people that you're going to need to work with. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to kind of fine-tune anything a little bit, but what I can tell you is what I can tell you is that you really just need to be you, and you need to allow you to pull through, and then you need to make a presence where people can get to know you. pick your presence very carefully. You know what I mean? Where are the people that you need to be? You know, do you need to start off picking a presence by popping into a forum and getting to know other people? Do you need to join a news group? Do you need to join a Yahoo group? Speaking of which, guys, the forum's up and going. We went ahead and had some problems with that, but that should be fixed. We also have a Yahoo group. Please join our community. You know what I mean? With that being said, you know, where do I need to reach out to these people? Do I need to make a Facebook? What do I need to do? So think about your presence very carefully. As far as advertisement is concerned, your major ways of advertising really are going to be Google AdWords, your Facebook advertising, working with other sites to get linking, getting onto other sites, getting your content being released in other avenues, releasing little how-tos and this sort of thing on WikiHow or on YouTube and this sort of thing. This is one of the ways that you're going to be able to get your name out. Make sure that you're releasing content. This content is really going to drive people to your site, and it's going to drive your podcast. Make sure that releasing white papers and free ebooks and YouTube, like I said, how-tos and this sort of thing. Release valuable articles, and people will come. And advertisers are going to come too. As soon as your numbers go and you find your niche and you find your people and you start loving on your people and they start trusting you and you start trusting them and you create this great merging of an interface between the podcaster and his community, it really becomes a beautiful thing. I was sitting here listening to Jack Spirko's episode 550, and what people have thought about his podcast and how his podcast has changed his life. It really touched my heart, guys. That's exactly what I want to see here happen for the homesteaders, is an environment that we can create a community, that we can help each other out, we can share knowledge and those sort of things. That sort of drive and that sort of passion is going to be absolutely successful. Now, when we talk about your podcasting directory listings and putting your podcast out and stuff like that, I went ahead and I'll be pinning up a resource tab, I think it's going to be called, up on the website. I'll be putting an entire list of podcast directories. All of the information that I've already told you here, guys, is information you're going to need not only for your RSS, but it's also going to be information that you are going to need to have to enter in for every single one of these podcast directories. There is a ton of them. I absolutely, completely say that there is no way that you can ever stop putting your podcast listing out there onto new sites. Keep looking for new directories. Keep looking for new outlets. It works for you to do that. But with that being said, you absolutely, positively cannot go past getting your site listed on at least these places. You want to make sure that you have your site listed on iTunes. There's a link. If you just put iTunes, submit a podcast to iTunes, you're going to find the link to submitting that podcast to iTunes. One thing I can tell you is that thing does not happen right away. Be very, very careful of the category that you're picking, the feed that you're picking and stuff like that. Another thing to note with submitting your things to podcasting directories, you already need to have your RSS feed already live. I can tell you right now that as far as the RSS feed is concerned, FeedBurner is absolutely, positively the best way to go. It gives you all kinds of things that a regular RSS would not give you. It gives you stats. It gives you analyzing. It allows you to add things onto your RSS feed. FeedBurner, and the best of all, it is free. It is absolutely amazing. Make sure you do select the SmartCast option in FeedBurner. That will allow anybody to connect up to FeedBurner and subscribe without having to do all kinds of changes and stuff like that. There's walkthroughs on how to subscribe. Our right-hand link on the website is a FeedBurner link to how to subscribe. It's amazing. Just host your XML file somewhere, and then create a FeedBurner link. It's absolutely the way to go. And then you're going to need that, like I said, for every single directory listing that you absolutely put up there anyhow. So like I said, I'll make sure I put that up onto the resource section of the entire directory listing of the podcast URLs. Other directory listings that you need to make sure that you hit is Podcast Alley. podcast.com and BlackBerry Podcasts. You cannot underestimate, guys, and I can tell you from my own personal numbers, you cannot underestimate the impact of people using mobile devices to subscribe up to your podcast now. This is an absolute and total trend. You need to make sure you think about that. I can tell you right now, I absolutely positively see people connecting up through BlackBerries. I can see them connecting up through Windows mobile devices. I can see them connecting up through Android devices. I can see them connecting up through iPods and that sort of thing. You absolutely need to make sure you think about this. With that being said, there actually is a Zune marketplace as well. Consider that as well as some of the things that you need to think about. Zencastr is another one that is used for subscribers using creative devices. That it's just the way to go, guys. Make sure that you're absolutely, totally considering thinking about doing stuff like that. I can tell you guys that this week is all about you guys. Please make sure that you do submit all your comments, questions to us so that we can be as practical as we can be. We love you guys so much, and this week is all about you. We need to make sure that you guys are as financially capable and as sound as you possibly can be. And whatever we can do to make that happen is exactly what we will do to make you guys as successful as possible. If you want us to break out any of these episodes at all, please do let us know. We need to make sure that we are covering everything that we can and answering every single one of your questions that needs to be answered so that we can make sure that you guys are successful as we possibly can. With that being said, please do look forward to our other episodes. Please do help our sponsors out to leverage some of the costs that we have associated with the podcast. It definitely isn't free to create this podcast to you every single day. So please do help us out as we're helping you guys out. We've provided valuable sponsors out there. Please do consider the Amazon store if you're doing any sort of holiday buying or anything like that. We do make a little bit of money on all this, and like I said, it does help us to levy some of the costs because, like I've said endlessly on this show, having a dollar in a self-sufficient environment is a very, very valuable thing. And that's exactly what this entire week is dedicated to. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap up with our contact information. The way to reach us via email is selfsufficientandsustainable@gmail.com. Our website address is www.selfsufficientandsustainable.com. You can reach us at Facebook at www.facebook.com/selfsufficientandsustainable. Our Twitter and YouTube channels are Sufficiency Now. Our voicemail, if you'd like to leave any comments, suggestions, future topics of the show, if you'd like to be interviewed on the show, anything like that, you can leave it on our voicemail at 206-350-2226. Please, again, do take a look at the new changes to the site. I'll be constantly going and doing some updating on that. So please check the site out often. If there's anything that doesn't work for you on the site, if the site's, having any problems or anything like that, please let me know. I'm definitely not, the great web maker out there. I'm trying to do what I can to try to help you guys out, and that's really what it comes down to. It's really all about you guys. Please release this podcast to your friends, burn it, give it away. Do everything that you can to get this in the hands of the people that need it, especially the poor and the hurting. That is really our passion. That's really what we're about. And I can tell you right now, doing something like that is exactly what you're going to be able to do to make your podcast something that is remarkable, something that is absolutely you, and something that you are just not going to have to beg people to go to. It is going to be the thing that people are going to absolutely go to. They're going to find out. They're going to be able to find it, and we're going to be going into ways that they can find it later on in the week, ways that you can possibly make money on this, market it, your ideas, and everything like that. This is Rob with Self-Sufficient and Sustainable. Have a great day.